weakness. I understand pain. I understand death. I understand suffering. And because of these people, I'm starting to understand peace. You can't take that away from me.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. Hey guys, Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Why does my mic sound so tinny? Good God, one of these days I'm going to figure this thing out. But again, I am Leon Francis. I had a little foobar earlier in the week when I thought I got my days mixed up. It happens when you get older. I haven't been taking the methylene blue like I should. But anyway, last week, as you all know, I did not broadcast because my son and I, my two sons, like that old sitcom, My Two Sons, we ran the 5K. They did significantly better than I did. I'm just going to say it. I did finish it. I did run it. I did complete it and all of that. But those boys, oh, they're beast, and they handled it. They were in beast mode the entire time. So I'm really, really proud of those two guys. What game? What is this? Okay. There you go. But anyway, I'm gonna take that off. I don't know what that is. But anyway, it's good to be back. We're going to talk about a couple of things that caught my eye this week. We're going to talk about a little bit about the WalletHub. Um, if you are familiar with well, you're probably not because you're not a nerd like me, but uh, we have a saying in the IT world, GIGO. It's garbage in, garbage out. So you have a system. If you put garbage as the input, you're going to get garbage as the output. And that's my feeling on the whole WalletHub. I posted it on my social media. The WalletHub, I think it was best here. I'm going to take a look quick. The WalletHub, they came out with this ranking. I'm going to try to find it quick here. At the beginning, states for racial equality in education. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it because it's garbage. It's the entire study is absolute garbage. And again, it's garbage in, garbage out. I crunched the data. So my good friend Kevin Flynn, I think it was Kevin. Was it Kevin? Let me see here. No, Todd Mitchell. That's who it was. Todd Mitchell sent me that screenshot there, and kind of asked me what my thoughts were on it. And I crunched the data, and WalletHub being liberal and all, garbage in, garbage out. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, and I think I want to. Originally, I was not going to lead off with this story, but the more I dug into it, I think I do want to lead off with this story. I titled it, "I Can't Breathe," the English version. And we're going to talk about this young kid, Henry Nowak, and what happened to him over there in England, or in the EU, and draw comparisons from that incident to the George Floyd incident in our country. I mean, and we all remember the whole George Floyd thing. It was crazy. It was insane. I remember being on Steve Halstom's show shortly after that. He pulled me and I think 4 other African Americans in, and we had a roundtable about it. And I was the only one that wasn't, all wee-weed up about George Floyd because I knew then he was a criminal. I knew that we were only getting a soundbite snippet of the entire thing. Like the whole thing lasted 8 minutes. We only got a tiny fraction of that, and it was meant to elicit exactly the response that like all of the folks on that panel were showing you. And one of my good friends, conservative guy, Raheem Williams. I don't know if you guys remember him. I think he used to live downtown Fargo. Um, Dreadlocks, tall, African American guy, smart as a whip. His thing was numbers. Like it was crazy how smart this guy was. And we we would go. He would come over. He was a younger guy, and we'd go practice our Second Amendment, and that whole thing. Um, like we were good friends, but on this, he was upset with me. Like I was the only dissenting voice in the round table. And it's because I'm not driven by my emotions. I want a little bit more, And I think we in my culture, especially when it surrounds things like what's that idiot's name? Carmelo Anthony, the guy down there in Texas that stabbed that kid, and they set up a GoFundMe page surrounding it, and you could just see the bigotry from the African American culture. I think they raised like $500,000. Now I looked at it; they have a new goal of $1.6 million, and absolutely, uh, that kid should get his that kid and his family, Carmelo Anthony, should not get a dime. Should not get a dime because his behavior at that event was barbaric. It took the life of another child, and we have to do something about our kids. And when I say our, I mean the African American culture. We have to do something about that. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about what I'm calling AI and humanity's hubris. Now, earlier in the week, um, folks were messaging me about my thoughts on the data centers. We're going to unpack the whole data center thing. Absolutely. We're going to unpack it. I'm going to give you a little bit of my uh, everything I everything I do. I try to color it with a Christian worldview. So you're going to get a little bit of that. So don't be surprised. You're also going to get a bit of my technical knowledge on this and what I think about it. Because I don't think that we are. I don't think that the folks that are pushing this thing. I don't think they have our one are speaking now. My opening position is um, I, I'm distrustful. I just am because I know the power. We get this backbone up. It's a game changer. Like our entire way of life will absolutely change. And I think we need some serious safeguards in place because the size and scope of the government will be unbelievable. If you think the size and scope of big government is big now, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing compared to when they have this AI up and running and at full capacity. It everything you do, everything in your life, every single thing will be touched by AI. I mean, unless you are a guy like me who lives out in the middle of nowhere, and you can um, chuck all of your electronic devices, anything connected to the internet. You remember way back in, well, not way back in the day. It's been just a couple of years when they were talking about the Internet of Everything. Like, I see these patterns, and that whole Internet of Everything was scary to me. It was scary to me. But I don't use the whole Alexa thing. I just, and like smart TV, smart fridges, smart this, smart that. You couple that with AI, and you want to talk about a surveillance state? Oh my God! And then you got the new cars. All of them have computer chips in them. It's crazy. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Carissa Geske and Fargos' problem with common sense. We're also going to talk about the insanity of pride. And there's a lot in our society that is just insane when you just look at it on its face. One of the things is this whole big pride movement, Antifa. Like, these people are not sane. They simply are not sane. And I'm going to show you some examples of that. One is a very, very recent example where folks were attempting to get a resolution, I think up there in Portland. I'll have to look at my info. Up there in Portland, to classify Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization and that sort of thing. And there were some Antifa protesters there, and there's a parallel to be drawn between the insanity of pride and those protesters and that whole thing. So we're going to unpack that also. But where I want to start over there in the EU. That's where I want to start. So I want you to imagine this: a young man. You're a young European guy. You're walking home from college. You're the first in your family to attend college. You see someone openly carrying a massive dagger. Now, you being a British bloke, you understand that British citizens like yourself, you're banned from even having a bread knife. As a matter of fact, if you are 8, you can't even get a steak knife until you're 18. I mean, they have common sense knife laws like Democrats and even some Republicans want common sense gun laws here in America. That's what you're dealing with. So you see this, and then you're like, oh, what's going on here? Moments later, you find yourself fighting for your life. You're stabbed repeatedly in your chest, and then your groin, and then your face, and then your leg. And then as you're bleeding out, your murderer is filming you and mocking you. And then you don't know this, but the murderer also, him and his brother, they called their mom, who is an immigrant. I left that out. This guy, your assailant is an immigrant. And he calls his mom. She comes. She grabs the knife, takes it off of the scene, and hides it. And when the police finally come, and you're in your last moments of life here, instead of them assessing the situation, now picture this: you've been beaten, you've been stabbed, you're barely clinging on to life. The police comes there, and the immigrant says that you attacked him racially. Like, he has no physical injuries at all, zero. because you didn't assault him. You, on the other hand, are lying with one shoe on your foot, visibly beaten up. You're pale white because all the blood is draining from your body. You tell the police officers that you've been stabbed. And instead of them using common sense and seeing that, well, one guy's standing here with like no visible signs of injury, and the other one is curled up in the fetal position, and he looks a minute past dead. Obviously, the assault isn't the primary. It would be the Haiti words. And with your dying breath, you're being handcuffed and read your rights. Nobody is rendering aid. They're lightheartedly dismissing your claims of being stabbed. Now, this is not a dystopian fiction novel that I'm narrating here. This happened to 18-year-old Henry Novak in Southampton, England, and he was killed by Vikram Digwa, who is a Sikh. And you probably never even heard of it. Even now, you have to dig for this story. And I'm going to show you other stories that you probably never heard of. The reason that the New York Times and the BBC and others gave it zero coverage when they covered George Floyd, St. George Floyd, is because this kid, Henry, was white. His killer was a protected migrant with a religious religious knife privileges under UK law. So, just to clarify, you are Henry, you're not allowed to carry a knife because of the knife crime epidemic that they have. Like, and that's a misnomer in itself. It's not a knife crime issue that they have. It is a migrant crime issue that they have. That's what it is. The folks that are stabbing people are not the natives of the UK. They are all these migrants that you're bringing over there. And apparently they have this crazy law where, you know, if you are a native son, you are not allowed to be armed at all. But if you are this Digwa idiot, you can have a ceremonial blade on you. And I think this blade was like 8 inches long. And that is a long blade. It is just the blade was 8 inches long. But he has a religion to carry it. Now you think about that. Just let all of that soak in. And on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about my thoughts on this. Like, it's unbelievable to me. And we're also going to talk about the response in the EU. So, Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, Guns in the 701. We'll be right back right after this first break.
I am Leon Francis, host of BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 network. Let's get it.
Did you ever wonder why people run for public office? I didn't plan on running for Congress, but I got tired of watching politicians go to Washington, promising North Dakotans the world, and delivering leftovers. I'm Alex Balaz, and I'm running to be your U.S. House Representative.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Come on now.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Was at a critical juncture. Rising debt, unsupported first responders, and detrimental programs and services have become the norm. And people are feeling it. Higher costs, increases in crime, big decisions, not always enough transparency. I'm Michelle Turnberg, and I'm running for mayor in order to change that. We need to focus on public safety, affordability, clear communication, and core services, not niche special projects. It's time for a new approach. I'm ready to lead Fargo forward. Vote Michelle Turnberg for mayor on June 9th.
Welcome back. Leon Francis, Guns and the 701. This is BlackBeardLogic. So let's recap. You got Henry Nowak. He is a native son of the UK. He has been assaulted by a migrant who is carrying a knife that this native son, by his country's own laws, won't allow him to carry, or a firearm, or any type of protection, but this migrant is permitted this dignity. It's not going to be the only indignity that he suffers at the folks that are supposed to have his best interest at heart. Apparently, everybody over there is woke, and some folks here in America want us to mirror England, but people like me are not going to let that happen. This thing, and the father, even in his response, I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna take two steps back. I'm not gonna give you my initial thoughts on the father's response. I will only say this. The indoctrination is deep over there, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how you could allow I don't understand how you could see something like this. And I'm seeing tons of videos from over there. I don't understand how the white guys over there that built that country, that built they built the institutions and the structures that are now bringing these migrants in by the boatload, and the migrants don't contribute anything. They're leeching off of that structure that has already been built. Same way they're doing here. The exact same thing that's happening over there is happening here with the Somalians and the Muslims and all of the folks that we are just flinging and I have a real problem with Democrats that say this country was built by migrants, and what do they say? This country was built by immigrants. But what they're not telling you is the immigrants that came over here did not come over here to an already flourishing country with structures and institutions and social safety nets built in that they can mooch off of. No, when they came over here, it was hard. Life was hard. They had no safety nets. A lot of them were turned around at Ellis Island. because we didn't take, contrary to popular belief, we didn't take sick people with certain sicknesses. If you were a pregnant mom, if you were pregnant, we would turn you away. If you were a single mom with kids in tow, we would turn you away because it would be an undue burden on what we were trying to build. We wanted people to come in here who had fire in their bellies and could build up America. And that is not what's going on today. That is not what's going on in the EU. It is the exact opposite of the folks that came over to these countries initially, and made this country great. Democrats are turning that on its head now. Liberals are turning that on its head now. But I'm going to get back to this story. I want you to listen to the father, to Henry's dad, and then we're going to talk. We're going to break it down. So I think this came from Steve Deace's show, and I think this is the rundown that Aaron normally gives. So we're going to cut to that now.
Pond Vikram Singh Digwa, 23 years old, received a life sentence with a 21-year minimum sentence on Monday for the murder of 18-year-old Henry Nowak. Digwa stabbed Nowak to death on December 3, 2025 in Southampton, England, according to Judge William Mousley. When British police arrived on the scene, Digwa allegedly complained of racial abuse, leading officers to handcuff and arrest Nowak as he bled to death. Officers uncuffed him a short time later and attempted CPR to no avail. Chilling body cam footage revealed this week shows the young man's lifeless, colorless hand cuffed. No color because he was bleeding out while police coldly assumed he had performed a racially motivated assault.
Oh, I can't breathe. Put the hand in the cuff, mate. Yeah. This is like...
We've got this male, he's just been beat up. Are we able to get an ambulance, please?
His pupils aren't even reacting.
Digwa remained with Nowak as he died, telling police officers that Nowak, quote, had not been stabbed and that he was exaggerating, according to the judge. Nowak's father spoke to media after the sentencing of Digwa.
With his final words, he told officers that he could not breathe. He told them he had been stabbed. In fact, Henry told officers that he could not breathe 9 times.
So, that's one of the parallels I want you to hold in your head. If you remember the whole George Floyd thing, what they showed us, what was on an endless loop throughout the news cycles, was that one, like, I don't know, 30-second snippet of Chauvin, who I believe was wrongly prosecuted. And I'm on record saying that many, many times. I don't think he should have been prosecuted. He did not cause George Floyd's death. George Floyd caused his own death. He overdosed. His heart literally popped from all of the drugs that were in his system. The coroner's report said that. Like, it, I think that the officers there were other officers that were also charged and also were found guilty. And that whole thing was a sham trial that should have never happened in America. It should have never happened. But I want you to look at the parallels here. This kid told them 9 times that, one, he couldn't breathe, told them that he had been stabbed, and it's just unbelievable to me how, looking at, and I did not play the video. I have it. The body cam video, it's gut wrenching. You see the kid, you see he is just white as a sheet. You hear him barely able to speak, telling these officers that he has been assaulted, he has been stabbed, he is in need of medical attention, and just the lack of humanity in those officers. Like, one of them says something to the effect, when he says he's been stabbed, one of the female officers says, "You think we should check that?" Like the kid is visibly close to death. And he's being arrested because the guy that's standing there with not a scratch on him says he racially assaulted him with hurty words, while the victim is bleeding out who has actually been assaulted. And then the father goes further. I want you guys to listen to this.
He told them he had been stabbed 4 times. The response from one officer was, "I don't think you have, mate." The police have said they were misled by the murderer and that the scene when they arrived was complex. Unfortunately, it seems to us the truth is much simpler.
I'm going to pause it one more time. The cops at the scene said the scene was complex. It wasn't. You have 2 guys, this guy and his brother, who are standing there with no visible signs of injury. And you have Henry on the ground with visible signs of multiple injuries. Like, it wasn't chaotic. And if I was this guy, I'd be a hell of a lot more pissed off. And I guess maybe it's his English demeanor. I don't know. But I would be upset, to say the least. Let's continue.
The police were told by our son himself and by a member of the public who called 999 that they heard someone shout that they had been stabbed. But the police did not believe them. Henry was pulled across the gravel, his hands forced behind his back, and he was placed in handcuffs. Instead of being treated as a dying victim, police formally arrested Henry for assault and read him his rights. That was the last thing he heard. Henry did not die with dignity. He did not die with the care he deserved. He lost consciousness before anyone believed him. Let me be absolutely clear. We hold Vikram Digwa solely and 100% responsible for the brutal murder of our son. But Henry should not have died on the streets of Southampton in police custody. The way he was treated was inhumane and degrading. His murderer, however, was afforded decency. He was believed. He was not handcuffed when arrested. He was not handcuffed when transported to the police station. As far as we understand, he was never handcuffed at all. And, as Vikram Digwa himself told the court, whilst under arrest for Henry's murder, police even took him to the kitchen so he could choose his food.
Now, did you hear that last part? That last bit there? So, even after he was charged with murder, this guy was never handcuffed. Remember, Henry, while dying, was handcuffed and read his rights, as it were, for saying hurty words. In the EU, they see hate speech as a bigger problem than an actual assault, than an actual murder. They never handcuffed Digwa the entire time. They never handcuffed it. They never handcuffed him when they arrested him. And to add absolute slight to injury, he's given a meal choice when he gets to jail. He's taken to the kitchen, and this is my just my humble opinion on this. And we have this problem here in America too. Like at Guantanamo, when liberals were all wee-weed up, and even in some of our prison systems, I believe that if you commit a crime, and we deem that crime harsh enough, or if it is enough of a slight against the ordered society that we built, you don't get any. Like, you eat prison loaf. You eat the green bologna. You eat what we give you. Like there shouldn't be a special diet. I mean, unless your stomach just absolutely can't handle it, like regular food, and making you eat this food, what would we like? I don't know. Maybe you have Crohn's or something like that, and it would require the system. It would be a financial burden on the system, a greater financial burden. I don't think you should get any special treatment. You're Muslim, great. We're having ham today. You know, you need halal food, great. You're getting green bologna today. Like, you eat what we give you because you could not be decent out in public. We do not cater to you. This is a punishment, is what this is. Like, my son, my mom, who you guys all know I loved it dearly. You think we got a choice for our meals? No, you ate what she put in front of you. So I don't understand this mindset at all. At all. I'm going to show you something else. Have you ever heard of Chris Donald, this kid? Innocent Scottish schoolboy who was abducted, burned alive by a gang of Pakistani men, execution style. And I'll briefly touch on some of the points in this murder that you have never heard of. They picked this kid up. They tortured him. They plucked out his eyes while he was alive. They pulverized some of the bones in his face and hands. And while he was alive, they set him on fire. They doused him in gasoline, set him on fire. He tried to roll, drop and roll and that sort of thing, and was not able to do that and had a heart attack because of that. And you probably never heard of that. Because in the EU, like Tommy Robinson, the reason he went to jail is the rape gangs that are over there. And he was sick and tired of it. But in the EU, you don't have free speech. You can't stand there and say, hey, this is happening, because you'll be taken to jail. And so he said nuts to that. He stood in the courtroom steps and he read off the names of all of these people that were basically stealing little white English girls and raping them. Once they get caught, they get a slap on the wrist. And so he was reading off their names, what they had done, and apparently in the EU, that's a no-no. They arrested him. And they told him, you do this again, you're doing, I forget how much time. And when he got out, he got another list. And I think within hours, he was back on that courtroom step. And you need men like that. Now, and you have to understand, over there, they don't have a Second Amendment. They are completely cowed. Completely. It blows my mind. This whole Carmelo Anthony thing. It's like people in power here are attempting to start a race war, because the worst of our culture gets elevated. And like, black fatigue is real. I have it. And I'm a black guy. It's a real thing. It's like people are trying to initiate something very bad. Like, again, I go back to George Floyd. You go back to the, what's the gentle giant? I forget his name. Hands up, don't shoot, which never happened. Never happened. But that's what we were told. Like, the absolute worst of our culture is elevated and even martyred. Same thing with the EU. Except their people are completely cowed. They have no recourse. I'll show you their recourse here. Here, let me listen to. This is in response to Henry. Now you'll notice, like, look at all these cops. And I've heard other podcasters, other streamers, other folks on radio say, you know, I don't think that rioting is permissible in any circumstance. I beg to differ. And I'll go a step further. Our founding fathers did not leave us with our Second Amendment rights to just sit quietly or to not be outraged by things that our government is doing and then sit quietly or allow. I'm going to say something that's going to probably piss some people off. The whole January 6th thing. I think it was stupid and asinine to go to the place where they are subverting your election, subverting your voice, and then voluntarily give them the monopoly on violence. No, if it comes to that point, and I'm going to couch it there. I'm just going to say, once it gets to a certain point, all this chanting is BS. It's like, look at these guys. You think these guys care? They do not. They're completely indoctrinated. Completely indoctrinated. Hearty words trump actual assault. Basically. Here, let's play it.
Did you know him? Have you all been trained to kill white boys, have you? Listen to this. You did that. Every single one
100%. And I don't know if you could see Henry's hand there. It's like white as a sheet. And in the police body cam video, you could see it no color, zero color, almost blue. And they handcuffed him anyway. You can hear the cop going, "Give me your hand, mate." And he can't because, like, he's 2 seconds away from being dead.
You've been trained the same, have you? Kill white boys. Let the white boy die. You scum.
And the saddest part about, like, all of these pistols, and you can see the crowd is massive. It's massive. The saddest part about the whole thing is they're going to do this whole protest for a bit and nothing's going to change because nothing has to. They have the monopoly on violence. The EU does. The EU government does. It's one of the things that pisses me off when I hear even people on our side talk about common sense gun reform, when it's all Democrats committing all the gun violence and it's got nothing to do with the gun. And people are so idiotic that they don't understand that when you do that, when you play into that mindset and they give us common sense gun reform or whatever loony phrasing you want to put on there, when they do that, you are giving the government the monopoly on violence. That's what you're doing. It means that any grievance, any of the amendments that our founders sat down and wrote out in that document back there, you have no rights to. You might have the right to that, but they don't have to. I mean, what are you going to back it up with? Like, so you can be mad, you can yell, you can scream, you can march on the Capitol all you want, but if you can't ensure your rights and the rights of your family and the rights of your countrymen, if you can't ensure them, tyranny does what tyranny does. It's not going to give you anything. We are supposed to be the check on tyrannical government. England gave that up a very long time ago. And you can see what's going on over there. I mean, well, you can't see because they don't have a First Amendment. So the only way videos like this get out, I remember when they had those Nigerian riots where the migrants that the elites in England brought over and leech off of the English people. They had their panties in a bunch, and they were rioting and turning over cars and lighting them on fire, and there were no-go zones, and anybody in England that reported on it was cited for hate crimes. So you never saw it. Some of it leaked out, and you had some folks on the right that were able to get that footage, but outside of that, you'd never even know it happened. Just like Chris Donnell. I guarantee you, no one that is listening right now has ever heard of Chris Donnell. And that's what happens when you give tyrants a monopoly on force. You have no way to enforce your rights, your God-given rights. None. Let's continue. This is Southampton. And these people are upset, and for good reason. And again, I'm a black guy saying this. But these, like, if we're going to talk about indigenous people, these are the indigenous people of England. And they have somehow allowed a couple of elitist dumbasses at the top to prioritize people from garbage, backwards, backwater, crap hole countries over them. That's what has happened here. And these people are upset. And it's true that if you have the numbers, even with like firearms and all of that, you can make a go of it. But I'm going to guarantee you that this thing is going to calm down. They're going to do this little thing for a bit, and then everything is going to, because apparently to the elitists, the absolute worst thing you could do is be a bigot, even if you're not. If you say hurty words, like Digwa said on the 911 call, he attacked us racially. Like, what does that even mean? But these migrants understand how white, guilted elitists, they understand how they think. And they understand that there are laws written that protects them. Again, this guy, Digwa, had basically a sword when most of the white guys in EU, the UK, can't even have a pocket knife. Like, it's not allowed. It's banned. Even the dad said common sense knife. Like, when he said that, and again, I empathize with him. He just lost his son. He sees all of this stuff. I would have been a lot more pissed. I'm just going to tell you that. I would have been livid. Common sense knife reform? What are you talking about? No, get these migrants out of here. Get these immigrants out of here. Get the people who are causing the damage to your culture the hell out of here. Common sense knife reform? What are you even talking about? Like, what are we talking about? And again, over here with the 2A conversation, what are we talking about? We all know that there is a subset in the American culture that is causing all of the violence. And your answer to that is to restrict and retard law-abiding Americans from their Second Amendment rights enshrined in that document back there. That's your answer. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. A better answer would be to restrict all Democrats, all liberals from owning firearms. That would be a better solution. Because that's where all the gun crimes are coming from. It's not Jamie out in Bismarck or me out in the middle of North Dakota, or like name any of my hard-nosed 2A supporting friends. It's none of us. It's all coming from the south side of Chicago. It's all coming from South Central LA. It's all coming from New Orleans, Louisiana. We know where the violence is coming from. We know who the people who are committing the violence, we know who they are. And the same in the UK. This father knows. He can't say it. Because even a grieving father reading that speech, if he said the thing that is true, they would probably arrest him. And you would have never seen that. Like, they wouldn't even air it. If he came out and he said, we know where the problem is. We have a problem in England. And it is all of these immigrants that we're bringing over. He could never say that. Best case scenario, they'd never air it. Worst case scenario, they'd arrest him on the spot for hate speech. That's a problem. That's a problem. I'll let this play on. These folks, they're upset. They come by it honestly.
Balls are getting chucked in. They're chucking the stuff away over the people's gardens. Here we go. Stuff is getting chucked in left, right. Did you get that? I got it, but I don't know if I'll have it. Oh! Hit him with a brick straight in the head.
That guy got hit in the head with a brick.
We are right in the thick of it.
Now, you'll have some commentators that say, you know, only white people can be racist. No. These folks in England, like, if you look at that crowd, it's all white. But they are the set upon. They are the people being discriminated against, and their kids are the kids, or are the folks that suffer the brunt of the violence. And it's sad. It's sad when I see it in America. It's sad wherever you see it. Like, how do you allow your society to get here? It's easier than you think. It's not standing up for and fighting for God-given rights like the Second Amendment, like your First Amendment, like your Fourth Amendment, like your right to redress of grievances by the government. And many times, tyranny doesn't just kick in the door and say, hey, I'm here. many times we open the door and let it in, little by little, and then you look around, and this thing of ours is just gone. Let's get back to the story. That's about enough of that. I came up with 4 points to take out of this whole scenario. I want to start right here. It begins back in 2020. That was a election year. George Floyd, he died with 0 physical injuries to his neck. He said he couldn't breathe long before he was on the ground. He's still alive when he reached the hospital. But none of those facts matter. The narrative turned him into an instant martyr, sparking race riots that weakened Donald Trump politically. And that's what it was designed to do. And it unleashed years of anti-white hysteria. And that hysteria did not stay in the streets. It seeped into institutions and has produced a new level of depravity. And again, the irony is those idiots over there in the EU, they had Black Lives Matter riot, well, not riots, but protest, and George Floyd memorials, and they did all of the things. All of the things. To their own detriment. It's unbelievable to me. Second point here. We fast forward to Southampton and the murder of Henry Novak, 18-year-old, first of his family to attend college, walking home alone, passes Vikrip Dig or whatever, a migrant whose family came to Britain under their open borders policies. And let's stop there for a second. One of the things that liberals are really good at is pulling heartstrings. You see a mom, single mom, maybe. Well, in this case, it was a single mom. And she's got these 2 boys, and they want to pull at your heartstrings. How can you not be compassionate? And again, some part of even me, I see that, and you want to help out. But what you have to do is take the emotion out of that. You look at those 2 boys, and you need to gameplay it out. As a matter of fact, forget all of that. Our border should be closed. We should have a moratorium on any immigrant coming into this country from certain areas. And that's not bigoted to say. We don't need to, nor did we in the beginning just take anybody. That was not a thing. Despite what the liberals say, despite the rewriting of history, despite all of that, that is not the way this thing was set up. But again, I remember pre-COVID, those what's it called? I'm having a brain fart now, but we're all George Soros and all those idiots get together and they game played out how many third worlders each Western civilization was supposed to let in for something that they were trying to do. And that's been memory hold. I'll look that up, and at the next podcast I air, I'll have that information. But I remember them doing this on purpose. I remember like the Great Replacement theory. That was a real thing, and it got poo-pooed, and folks called it white supremacy and all of this. But that's the thing that they were doing. It's the thing that they have done. This is the thing. Anyway, you look at this incident right here. Digwa, his family came over here, over to Britain under the open borders policies that were newly, implemented. He was openly wearing this ceremonial dagger, and not something that, like I said, native British citizens are banned from carrying. They can't even carry a bread knife. They can't have a pocket knife. They can't have an EDC like this right here. This would get them locked up in England. This thing here would get them locked up in England. I believe that this thing here would get me locked up in Minnesota. And this is nowhere near 8 inches. That's nowhere near 8 inches. And this is my EDC. This would get me locked up in England. If I went to England and I had this on my person, this is enough to get me locked up. But they allowed it. And in some states in the United States, we've allowed it. Anyway, under Section 139 of the Criminal Justice Act, Sikhs get a religious exemption for blades of any size. Yeah, just absolutely insane. Number 3, there was the family cover-up. Now, they let this woman in, single mom, 2 kids. What does she do? She hid the weapon. She falsely claimed a racist attack, and police believed the uninjured attacker, handcuffed and read the rights to the dying Henry Novak, who was bleeding out and pleading that he had been. The reason I am on this story is it is a cautionary tale. That's what this is. This is suicidal empathy. If you haven't read the book, Gad Saad just came out with it. You should read it. These cops dismissed his claim, provided zero aid. And you think about that in contrast with George Floyd and that coverage and the response. Like those officers, again, for 8 minutes, tried to reason with this idiot. Well, he is like obviously high. The officers, some of the officers in the video, if you watch the entire video, made the observation, dude, are you high? Because he was. He was 100% high. And he was yelling that he couldn't breathe before he got in the car. They had him outside on the ground. He couldn't breathe, and he was yelling and screaming, and he was like he didn't want to go to jail and all of that. They put him in the car. He was yelling and screaming. They took him out of the car. He was yelling and screaming and talking about how he was claustrophobic. They put him back in the car, and then they took him back out of the car. Like they, in my humble opinion, like if I were, one of the reasons I can't be a cop, I could never be a cop, I would have hogtied his ass and threw him in the back of the smallest guy. When he told me, hey, I'm claustrophobic, especially, and I know his rap sheet, like this idiot, St. George Floyd held a gun to the head and stomach of a pregnant lady while him and his homies robbed her house. And I'm supposed to feel sorry? I'm supposed to care if he's claustrophobic? No, you're going to jail. You just passed a counterfeit $20 bill, and you're obviously high as crap. I don't care if you don't want to get in the back of this car. This is where you're going. But anyway, that was number 3. Number 4, systemic anti-white double standards. and this is kind of a big one. The UK authorities grant knife exemptions to Sikhs, but not natives. And then the media completely ignored the case. Like, I didn't hear about this case till after he had been, till just a couple of days ago is when I first heard about this case. So after the trial, after everything, is the only time we got any media, because the media is effectively an arm of the tyrannical government, which is why that's so bad, which is why our First Amendment protections are so vital. So vital. And for this horrific crime, this dude will be out in his early 40s. None of the officers have been held accountable. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, if I was Henry's father, oof. And this is predictable. Like, this isn't random knife crime. It's completely predictable. It's a direct result of importing people with tribal resentments and giving them legal privileges that the natives don't have. And then you train the police and the media to assume that the white victim is always at fault. Doesn't matter the scenario, doesn't matter if he's bleeding out on the ground, he's at fault if he said a hurty word. And if you think it's just a British thing, think about Austin Metcalf. The thing that's going on right here in America right now, that trial, he's stabbed at a track meet, and his murderer raised hundreds of thousands of dollars from supporters. It's and again, I'm not going to beat up on the father too much, but in his little speech there, he spoke of inclusivity and common sense knife laws. We got to be careful, is what I'm saying. There are so many parallels here. And my number 5, the last one, there's a broader pattern and failed responses, similar to unpunished or excused attacks. The Canadian Sikh stabbing up there, I think there was a father, and the Sikh was outside vaping or something, and the father had his kid in the stroller, and he asked the guy, hey, kids here, you're vaping, and the guy just pulls out a knife and stabs him in front of his kid. That's that. And then you think about Carmelo Anthony with the GoFundMe over $500,000 with a target of $1.6 million, and it is being funded by people who support him. It shows escalating depravity, knife crime rhetoric, and diversity platitudes avoid root causes like immigration and anti-white resentment, which is a real thing. All you got to do is open your Twitter feed, and you see it. You see it. And again, I talked to my wife about this. It's like the powers that be want a race war. You can't keep poking people. You can't keep doing this. Like, at some point, the dam's going to break. Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, Guns in the 701. When we come back, we're going to talk about some. I don't know. I'm torn between the WalletHub thing and this whole pride thing, and how it. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. When we come back, we're going to talk about the whole Antifa thing, and that'll roll into the pride thing. So, Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, Guns in the 701. We'll be right back right after this break.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 network. Let's get it.
Anvil Brand LLC, raising and training tomorrow's barrel horses right out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Tracy and her family are great American patriots who not only support the Second Amendment, but they also promoted what you're looking for, top quality barrel horses. Go ahead and give Tracy a call at 701-471-6629 and tell them Guns and 701.com sent you. That's Anvil Brand LLC out of Bismarck, North Dakota.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Visit HortonLasercraft.com today and start crafting your perfect gift. For more info, email them at HortonLasercraft@yahoo.com or call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
T-shirts tucked in, know my worth, can't tell me nothing. White Nikes, albino, pink hop, my stilo, head to the top, bottom line is a motto.
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 network. Let's get it.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Leon Francis, Guns in the 701. This is BlackBeardLogic. I want to send a birthday shout out to my good friend Doug. We call him Max, the X-Men cometh. His birthday is today, so if you see him, buy him around, tell him happy birthday. Good guy. Doug is a good guy. When we had that tornado out here, he drove all the way out from Bismarck here to help me clear trees, brought his chainsaw, his pop-up camper, the dude's just solid dude. So if you see him, make sure you, convey happy birthday wishes to Doug. And he is also one of our sponsors, and he's a pretty, he can turn a wrench. I'll just say that. Good guy, really good guy. And in that commercial block, there was a plug for Due North, the Due North Political Podcast. That's something I do on a bi-weekly basis with Perry, with Mike, with Ryan, and we just kind of chop up, news of the day, give our opinions on them, and I'm gonna take 2 seconds on this. So my 2 cents is one of the segments in that show. And Perry asked us about this chart, which to me and to any red-blooded American, it should be concerning. Should be concerning. And I'm going to show it to you now. And like the back and forth between me and Mike, and I think we were kind of saying the same thing. I'm gonna go with that, even though, like when he in his initial response, he says, "I'm gonna like disagree with Leon a little bit," like and he is a different. He's cut from a different cloth than me. I'm ornery. I'm salty. I don't know why. I think it's my southern upbringing, but and Mike is a lot more calm and that sort of thing. And I'm not. That's not a bad thing. You need both kinds. You need salty people like me, and you also need folks with a clear head like Mike. And Mike is a solid conservative. I met him back during the Tea Party days, and and unlike some of the folks that I met during the Tea Party days that are now rhinos, Mike is not a rhino. He's been the same way from day one. And again, the point of Due North is we have all of us are conservatives. Some of us are a little more hard nosed than others, and so we have conversations. This conversation was basically about the decline in marriage rates and birth rates. Primarily, the question was about marriage rates and how they were in 1975 versus where they are right now. And there is a startling decline in that. And so Perry asked us our opinion, and here's how that went.
I want to put up this chart. It is incredibly shocking and sad. This shows the marriage rates from 1975 to 2025, both men and women. The question to each of you is, what is your reaction to this information? Then give me one reason on how we got here and one solution in how we reverse this depressing trend. We'll start with Leon. You're first.
Suicide wrapped in a rainbow flag and a Tinder swipe. That's my original. That is insane. I'd just start with feminism. That's where I'd start. I would start with the fact that our young women today, as opposed to back in the day, are more feminized now, and it's not a good thing. Our females today have this outlook on life where they don't need to get married. They don't need to have kids. They don't need to do anything that traditional societies across the board, across generations, have always known. We need women in order to have a future. You got to have that. And what modern day feminists have said to them is, well, let that take a backseat to you getting a career. And if you don't want a kid, we can fix it for you. And as my grandma used to say, why buy a cow when you can get the milk for free? And now in this generation, I have seen something where the young men are getting back to basics and the young women are getting further and further away. At one point, and you can see it, if you look at it on a generational chart, you can see the diverging of the men versus the women in pretty much everything, in culture, in policy, in politics, everything. They, at one point, back in 1975, they were more aligned and symbiotic. They wanted similar things. They thought similar things. Their religions were similar. Their morality was similar. Hey, you want to raise kids? How you want to do that? You have a similar mindset. Now it's diverged. It's like this now. And then you have young men coming back into the fold, and what we need is young women to come back into the fold.
Mike, let's get your opinion, your 2 cents. How did we get here? What's your overall reaction, and what's the solution?
Well, as usual, I might have a little bit different take than Leon does, but I think our end game is probably the same. But I've actually given speeches on this subject, so I know it pretty well, and it's an extremely disturbing chart. And there's lots of ways to approach this, but I'm going to try to hit on just 2 main things. The first thing is, that I think the reasoning behind this is there's been a 50-year push for women to enter into the workforce at much higher rates than what they did prior to 1975. And I'm not saying at all that women shouldn't work or shouldn't have careers, But the reality is that women and men both are prioritizing their careers over family at a much higher rate than what used to be.
Now, that's the part that I had a little bit of pushback, and you'll see. I'm going to let this play out. It plays for about 8 minutes, but that's the part that I had an issue with. When Mike says men and women are prioritizing their careers, the problem that I had with that, and I'll probably get some guff over this, is men are supposed to do that. We are supposed to be the provider. God put that in us to be, and I think I say that in this clip. The problem is men have always, even when we were hunter-gatherers, would go out and prioritize what they are doing to bring food back, to bring meat back, to gather enough, whatever it is, to till the garden or whatever it was, to go off to war and come back. We have always been that way and should be that way. That, in my humble opinion, the thing that has changed is now women want to be more masculine. They want to do that thing. And say what you want to say, but you can't have girls prioritizing that over having children, because if you do that, it kills society. It means that you're getting married at an older age, meaning you cannot have as many children or as many healthy children like back in the day. Big families. You can't do that if you're taking 5 to 10 years to go and chase a career. It's impossible. And that's the point that I was trying to make, and I hope I made it. Here, I'm going to let it play.
So, they're told the only way that they can succeed is to, first, you got to prioritize college, and then you prioritize getting a job, then you prioritize moving up in the company. And before you know it, they're all making $200,000 a year, but they forgot to get married and have kids along the way. So now they're in their 30s. What?
Go ahead.
Okay. So now they're in their 30s, they're past their prime childbearing years, and many of them are, just getting started at that time, and they're having 1 or maybe 2 kids, or maybe not even having any kids. And, back in the 70s, families were having an average of, it was 3.5 kids per family. In my opinion, just my opinion, once again, though, I think they're prioritizing the wrong things here. And the other problem with this is that, Americans are now only reproducing at a rate of 1.7 kids per couple. And you need to be at least 2.1 kids per couple to be above replacement rate. So, there's no way about it. This is going to result in population and decline. But to get back to the marriage numbers.
Look at those numbers. In 1975, 91% of women and 81% of men were married by age 30. And now it's like, there's no way society continues when it drops this much. Like, that is insane. Insane.
Thing that I think we can do is we really need to stop demonizing marriage and having children. There's absolutely nothing wrong with getting married and having kids at a younger age. Marriage and children, they're just not going to inhibit your future. Children are not a nuisance like so many people claim. And you guys will probably all agree, but marriage and children is, that's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm assuming you're all going to agree. But my wife and I were still both able to have good careers, and we have 4 children. And I'm sure people are wondering, well, how the heck did they possibly have kids and still have careers? Well, we're living proof that you can do it. And we had to pause a few things along the way, or maybe reprioritize a little bit here and there. But I don't think we could be happier than what we are. So I really just hope young people realize that they can do both and stop waiting, to get married so late in life and have kids. And I think overall they'd be happier, and studies have proven that. It's not just my opinion. That's my thoughts.
I push back just a little bit. Basically the entire first part of what you said was what I said, feminism. That's the problem. And another interesting fact that you brought up is that we are not having as many kids. Do you know why? It's because we're having women are having kids at a much older age. So you can't have as many. You can have more children and healthier children younger than you can when you get 35, 40, which is the age most people hit that successful stride. We got things kind of figured out. We got our careers kind of locked down, and we're moving up. We're making moves. But for a woman to be able to do that, and this is where I'd push back. You don't want to put it out there for women. Hey, go and try to get that career. Go to that college so you can, use it as a stepping stone for X, Y, and Z. What I would suggest is if you want to have kids and you want to help this whole population thing and you want to find a good husband, and 2 seconds on this, I would agree with you that having children is the impetus for doing well in life. But, and I'm going to get guff for this, but that's a masculine thing because God put that in us to chase down that beautiful woman, trick her into looking at you like, you're God's gift to her. And then you go out and with your bare hands, you build a life. And then the more lives that you create, the more responsibilities you have on your shoulder. And it is the impetus for you to get up and broaden those shoulders, to do more in life. And then she is taking care of your legacy. She's taking care of your progeny. She's taking care of the future of this country the way God intended. Now, after that, if she wants to get into a career, and I know many women that did it exactly this way, that's fine. But our roles are set by our Creator and by nature. We are the hunter-gatherers. We are the providers. And we do all that hunting and gathering and providing, not for us, but for them.
I will chip this in. In Mike's case, it was a miracle. Yes.
100%. I mean,
hey, I'm living proof miracles are real.
Yeah. So that's how that went there. And I'm just going to take a couple minutes on this. It's like I said, if you looked at that chart, it's something like 91% of women and a huge chunk of men were married before age 30, and then you fast forward to now, and we're staring at like 25% or less. That's not progress. That's demographic and spiritual collapse. Like, and it didn't happen by accident. It is the predictable fruit of the post-1960s rebellion against God's design, God's plan for man, his design for human flourishing. That command that he gave Adam and Eve to be fruitful and become many and spread, across the land. His whole plan has been set back because apparently we know better. No, couple of points that I think, in addition to what I said in that clip, caused this where we are right now, especially with birth rates declining, marriage rates declining. You have the sexual revolution and no-fault divorce. We traded, in my humble opinion, till death do us part, till I get bored or I find somebody hotter or whatever. We live in a hookup culture now, widespread porn, and that's the ultimate marriage killer for you guys out there. And then we have a pill that turns sex into recreation instead of a covenant. Why marry when you can get the milk for free? And my grandma used to say that. And then you can delay the consequences of your actions with abortion. And you can swipe right for that next dopamine hit. Like if this one didn't grab you, swipe right. There you go. Women are told career and independent trump family. And then we are told that masculinity is toxic and provision is optional in a welfare state. Jason Whitlock talks about this all the time. I talk about it all the time. When you are subsidizing someone's life, then they don't have to make adjustments. You can see it in the African American community. One of the reasons why single parenthood is so high and marriage is so low is just this big daddy government. Like a couple of episodes ago, I think it was last year. No, it was this. Maybe it was last year. When the whole welfare fight was happening with the food stamps, and you see all those ghetto hood rats saying, "Who gonna feed my kids? Like, how my kids gonna eat?" Well, that's their father's job, ma'am. That's the whole thing. Like, they're I don't understand how this is complicated. How your kids gonna eat? Well, find a daddy. Well, first, back it up a couple of steps. Put an aspirin between your knees and don't let every Tom, Dick, and Harry get in there. Every dude with a gold tooth in his mouth. Every dude with dreadlocks that you met at the club while you were twerking. Have a little class about yourself. Have some moral standards about yourself. That's where you start. But I understand we're kind of far down that road. How your kids gonna eat? Find they daddy. Because that was God's plan for that man. You let him off the hook. Anyway, and then you got feminism and the war on complementarity. And that's the second wave and beyond told women that husband and kids are oppression. They're not a blessing. Churches went soft, preaching God wants you to be happy. We gave women therapy sessions instead of Ephesians 5, biblical manhood and womanhood. That's the problem. Men retreated into video games, OnlyFans, and nihilism. And the data screams what Scripture already knew, that marriage and a family are the bedrock. It's those guys. What God put into us was for us to find a mate and then build a life with that mate. And the more lives we create, the broader your shoulders become, and the more you get after it to provide. That's the plan. We've gotten away from that plan. And then there is also something to be said about economic and cultural sabotage. Again, you guys know me. I'm a capitalist. I'm not a socialist. But this is something we need to think about. Me and my wife talk about this periodically. Sky-high housing costs. I think a lot of that has to do with endless immigration. Like, the government, just so you know, bought up a ton of property to house immigrants in. And when that happens, like, the government has more money than you. So if you're trying to buy that house for $40,000 or $80,000 or $100,000, the government will come in and say, I'll give you $300,000. You're completely priced out of the market at that point. And that's what happened. And then you have regulations, and then the endless money printing. You want to know about fiat currency? Talk to my 8-year-old son. He can tell you. You got the student loans and the dual income necessity to make the early family formation feel impossible. Like, there's so many forces working against the traditional nuclear family unit. So many. And until we can see our way clear of that, we're going to get what we've been getting. And I just wanted to bring that out because I saw that teaser in there for Due North. And I remembered that I had this in here. Now, I'm going to touch on, well, let's move to Antifa right now. I want you guys to see this video. And I saw this video, I think it might have been Wednesday when I saw this, and I figured I wanted to talk about it, so I wrote out a little something on it. But I want you to listen to this.
Terror organization and affirming the importance of public safety.
So what they're doing is they are declaring Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. I don't know if you heard that when I started it. So, and here's the response from Antifa.
Fuck you.
She says, F you.
Mayor, motion for recess 2 minutes.
Now, in case it wasn't clear, that was a child that's with these idiots. And that's relevant because we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Motion passed. Chief, can you please ask that person to leave?
I'll stand right here, please. I'll stand right here.
Mr. Mayor, there was no vote on that motion, sir.
All right, we have a motion and a second to recess 2 minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Recess for 2 minutes. You guys want to go to
Can you see the kid sitting down there?
De-escalate the situation.
I'm a citizen and I'm allowed to fucking
I'm a citizen.
Fuck, I want to say, fuck you, you're a fucking fascist piece of shit. Fuck you, fascist fuck. All of you are fascist piece of shit. And you're gonna
Her
fuck
kid is
all
there,
motherfuckers.
listening to
Fuck
all of
you.
them.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Shame on you, motherfuckers. Fascist fuck.
I hear that someone's being asked to leave, right? No one's asked me to leave. I'm just trying to make sure.
I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Time.
You clearly are breaking my goddamn wrist.
So I want you to hang on. I'm going to go back. I want to show you this kid.
Yes, you are.
That's the mom right there. This is Antifa in Oregon. Now, do you see that child? That child is, first of all, this kid's like, I don't know, 10, and wearing fishnets and hooker boots. That's a problem right off the bat. Second problem that you might not understand is that's a boy. That's not a little girl. That's a little boy. How many problems do you think that kid's going to have in life? Which is why the whole trans and pride thing is so insane. So insane. Like, what do you think is the life path for this kid? I got an idea. I'm going to show you his dad. Now, that's the mom getting arrested there. She's in a lesbian relationship right now, and they're raising their son to be a little girl. And apparently she doesn't have an occupation. Neither one of these idiots do. So this is what they do. They're Antifa people. And guaranteed they're being subsidized by me and you. Guaranteed. 100%. 100%. But I'm going to show you the dad. This is the dad. This is that kid's dad right here. David Albany. What do you notice about him?
Grab my phone, don't let them grab it. 135990 will unlock it. If you will text LaFonda, right, just let the homies know. Is there anything else you want to say?
This is insanity. One generation ago, we would have called this what it is. This dude is obviously insane. Who was married to an obviously insane woman and are raising a future insane person. Yet we are told that we not only have to put up with this, we have to accept it. Now, like, this is a thing. we're supposed to accept. It's insanity. Absolutely insane. And I put this in the show today because I want to show you they are reaching out now like never before to our kids. If you think I'm lying, this is Sesame Street right here. Look at that. I'm not even going to read it. I just want you to take a look at it. Look at that. Sesame Street. Like, Eli has never seen an episode of Sesame Street. Like, I grew up on it. But he has never seen it. Because they started going woke, and I recognized that they were going woke when he was born. That's how long they've been at it. And my son is 8. Think about how many kids Sesame Street has corrupted. Like, this is straight up demonic here. Like, there's no ambiguity. This is straight up demonic. Like, now, we don't have any, TV programming. Like, so everything we do is on apps. Everything. We monitor everything. We talk about everything. Like the Tuttle twins and things like that. That's what I want going in my kid's head. Not this garbage. Not Pride Month. What my son knows about the rainbow is God's plan. What he did after the flood, that's why we have rainbows. That's what it is. This is a perversion of that. Everything God creates, Satan replicates. And the problem with that is our God is glorious and holy and wants nothing but good for us. And Satan wants the opposite. This is Satan's work right here. What's happening to that little boy, that's demonic. What's happening in downtown Fargo, down Broadway, with all the pride flags, that's demonic. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, Guns in the 701 Network. We'll be right back right after this break.
Hey, it's Leon Francis from BlackBeardLogic on the Guns in the 701 Network. I'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
I am Leon Francis, and this is BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Oh, let me take that ugly thing off of there. So we're going to talk a little bit about the WalletHub situation right there. Oh, I'm going to back up 2 seconds. Leon Francis, Guns in the 701, this is BlackBeardLogic. I want to show you this picture before we talk about that. Now, this is cultural rot, and this is Valley News Live. Valley News Live. Now, this says, and again, this is news, which is why I don't watch the news. I'm very particular. Like, even your local news is heavily slanted left. This is Valley News Live in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota. Court documents say Danielle Whitebird stood on the back seat, kicked the divider, banged her head against the vehicle. Deputies deployed a taser to subdue her. She later threatened to kill officers' families upon her release. Look at that dude. In the words of Austin Powers, that's a man, baby. But I'm going to show you the danger in doing things like this. This guy, this is this guy. I'm going to show you. This is a dude who was convicted of sexually abusing a 6-year-old girl, was transferred to Shakopee, where he had exposed himself to one of the female inmates, despite having repeatedly lied about his identity to law enforcement in a bid to evade the law. His name is Daniel Patrick, not Danielle Whitebird. Daniel was permitted to change his name to Danielle in 2023 after his petition was approved by the state of Minnesota. So, in addition to the name change, he was supplied with replacement birth records, which declared his sex as female, despite not having undergone any surgery. None. Meaning, if he's in a loony state like Minnesota or Oregon or California, they're going to put this dude in with female inmates. This dude is insane, 1, and he's a danger, 2. But playing stupid games like this in the name of inclusion creates a danger to the broader society. It creates a danger to even the inmates in that jail or that prison. This dude is dangerous. And because we've become so woke, and because apparently pride, we're told that we have to accept this. We have to accept this nonsense from the people that told us follow the science. You remember that? And from as young as I can remember, how do you operate in your environment? And this is science. You use your senses. Your first sense would be your eyes and your common sense. Now, if you're a woke female and you got your kids and you believe in inclusion, you believe that this man should be allowed to use the bathroom in the ladies' bathroom where your daughters are going, that's a problem. And again, that's why men should stand up a lot more and be a lot more vocal about this kind of garbage. Because again, he sexually abused a 6-year-old little girl. Little girl. 6-year-old. But in some loony states, he's going to be allowed to go into the bathroom with your daughter. Just something to think about during Pride Month. Now let's go to the Wallet Hub. I'm going to say a couple things about a couple things. And I put this up on my social media here. Let me go to that. Oh, let me see. Let me see. Oof, that is an ugly dude. Now, before I get to my posting, and I'll read to you what I wrote there. But you look at this report that they dropped, and you can already hear the equity cultists crowing. Wyoming ranks number 1 in black versus white, black and white education equality with a sparkling 91 score. Minnesota limps in at number 46 with a dismal 30, 61 points apart. And to the uninitiated, that sounds like proof that in rural red states, they've cracked some code, and the blue state, good schools are failing black kids. That's what you get out of that whole thing. But that's not what I got. What I got was Wyoming's population. Well, their black population is like 1.2%. It's tiny. So we're talking about maybe a few thousand, if that, adults across the entire state. So, and again, my life mirrors this. You have a handful of stable, motivated families that move there. And the statistical gaps shrink or disappear because the sample size is so small that it's basically noise. And I want you to think about that. Think about the people, the caliber of person that would move from, I don't know, a ghetto in Louisiana to good old North Dakota, or the caliber of person that would move his or her family from, I don't know, some garbage liberal, backwater neighborhood to like Wyoming or something. Think about the caliber of person that would do that. And like this entire data set, in my humble opinion, is garbage. It's the GIGO, the garbage in, garbage out. And this is what I wrote. I'm going to read it to you. Just FYI, the more minorities you import, the lower your ranking will be, the lower your schools will perform across all metrics. Then they'll use that disparity to grip more money out of you. That's the game. That's an ugly fact that no one is willing to discuss. That's the grift behind the thin veneer of compassion and inclusion. They'll never actually fix the problem. Hell, just talking about it will get you branded a bigot. WalletHub's report isn't serious social science. It's propaganda in spreadsheet form. It fixated on raw group differences while airbrushing away the behaviors and the choices and the cultural patterns that actually drive them. Booker T. Washington got it right over a century ago. Character, rigorous work ethic, and personal responsibility are the ladders out of poverty and ignorance. Today's race grievance industry wants to pretend those things don't matter. Only invisible systemic forces and internal, eternal racism. Real equity and opportunity has always been there for those willing to seize it. Engineered equality of outcome at the expense of truth, merit, and reality is a dangerous lie. Fix the home. Restore the culture. teach young people the unvarnished truth about agency and excellence, or keep generating these fraudulent rankings while the kids, all of the kids, keep paying the price. The data doesn't lie, but the story we tell about the data sure does. It's time to tell the truth. And that's what I wrote. And I got a little guff, but I stand by that. And I'll go one further. In these states, like Minnesota, Fargo has this problem. Bismarck Public School has this problem. And it's the 800-pound elephant in the room. You have a subculture that you are importing in that is diluting the academic prowess of your school system. Like in Minnesota, for it being to be 46, you know how you get that? You have the natives of Minnesota who send their kids to school, who have been sending their kids to school, and their kids are doing pretty good. But then you start importing all these other people who do not have your culture, who do not have that, like Asians have this academics is always in the forefront. It's why they are overrepresented, and attorneys and accountants and scientists and all of that. It's the reason why they have a quota on them at like MIT and Yale and all of these prestigious schools, because their parents push them to be academic success. Same with the Jewish parents. Same with white parents. And then you start importing people from the ghettos. You start importing people from Chicago. You start importing people from Somalia. And when you do that, you have to understand that they are going to dilute the academic prowess of those school systems, because they do not have that same culture. Again, I played video on this podcast of people graduating whose culture is a culture of garbage, and they're graduating and they can't speak proper English. That's what you're importing into your school systems. Fargo Public Schools, Bismarck Public Schools, that right now they're right around the 43 to 46 percent proficient in reading and math. And why do you think that is? Your kids aren't getting dumber. They are importing kids who do not have your mindset. And if you say that, then you're a bigot. That's what this shows me. And this WalletHub, like this, again, the data set is garbage. Absolute garbage. But they're going to use this in order to flood money into these underperforming schools, because, as we all know, the more of your tax dollars that they can steal from you and throw at the problem, it's going to get fixed, right? No. But this is the grift. What, do you hate kids? What do you want them in underperforming schools? No. But your solution is not the solution. It's a grift. There's a way to stem this, and it is a heavy lift. But more money, and I guarantee you right now, people are working on grifting more money to throw at this problem. It ain't the money. It's the dilution. That's what it is. Trump got into a ton of trouble talking about the IQ of Somalians. He's not lying. And then you throw those people in to your school systems. to your culture. And the next thing you know, you got little Timmy Walls raising a Somalian flag over your damn city. Your schools are underperforming bigly. There's a huge academic gap between a certain culture and the native culture. But we can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. That's bigoted. That's bigoted. If you talk about it, then you're a bigot. If you observe with your five senses things that are obvious and true, you're a bigot. And damn sure for talking about it. I don't have that problem for obvious reasons. But I definitely wanted to touch on that. And now we're going to get into something that me and my good buddy Jamie kind of we have disagreements. I mean, again, I am who I am, you know, and my friends are just as bullheaded as I am. So I expect us not to be simpatico on everything and still have drinks and shoot guns and do all of the things that make living life in America so friggin' fantastic. Like, I hate it when people are running down America. I hate it. It's the best place on the planet, bar none, for anyone, for everyone, especially for African Americans or people of my complexion. Like, you can't go anywhere else on this planet and have these same liberties, same freedoms, same upward mobility that you have in this country, and it's all yours for the taking, or all yours to screw up. And one of the biggest problems I have with folks in my culture is they tend to have a mindset to screw up and then blame everybody else for their screw up. And I'm not on board with that. But anyway, we're going to talk about data centers now. Here, let me see what I pulled. Oh, here, Eric Schmidt. Let's listen to. Well, I'm going to backtrack because I see something funny here. I saw this yesterday, I think it was. Peanut butter vandalism sparks allergy scare at West Fargo Pro. Now, without dating myself, I'm just going to say this. Me as a kid growing up, I never heard of peanut allergies, ever in my life, ever in my young life. I never knew a kid that had peanut allergies. I knew kids, I was one of them, that were allergic to bee stings, things like that. Not a single person I grew up with or knew growing up ever had a peanut allergy, ever. As a matter of fact, for breakfast at school, you got a little packet of peanut butter with your breakfast to put on your toast and whatever. Like peanut butter sandwiches was a huge thing. And now, the West Fargo Police Department is looking at this as criminal vandalism. To me, this is just all kinds of stupid and funny, and shows you, like, when we talk about things like the vaccine schedule and 72 versus I don't know what it was back in the day, 15, and we're like, oh, I wonder why we have so many peanut allergies. Oh, I wonder why we have so many kids that need SSRIs. Oh, I wonder why. There's a reason. You just need to be receptive to it. And something else about this. Did you see right here? Look at this right here. Look at that. What's that? What's missing there? It's got that whole Leering Center vibes. Where's the C? Like, that's, to me, that's crazy. But anyway, that's just a funny aside. I want to play for you Eric Schmidt. And this is gonna we're gonna wrap up. Oh, I'm already 2 hours, 5 minutes in. So we're going to hit this. I'm going to give you my thoughts on data centers and that whole thing. And we're probably going to be here. Clay, I'm sorry. We're probably going to be here another 30 minutes. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. I should have put this up top, but I thought the beginning of the show was kind of heavy. So I kind of wanted to lighten it up a little bit. You know, I'm trying to mitigate, but I'm a bloviator and I'm agitated most of the time. And our government does stupid things. So here's Eric Schmidt. I think he was the founder of OpenAI or something. But in this clip, he's talking to a graduating class. And what I want you to take away from this is the student's reaction versus his. And I want you to think about that when we talk about all of the North Dakota elitists who are talking like data centers are great. AI is wonderful. All those people, they're getting something for telling you that, for getting you to go along with that. They're going to get something in return for that. You're not. You're going to get creature comforts, but little else. So we're going to play this. I want you to listen.
Last December, Time magazine selected its Person of the Year for 2025. And this time, it was the architects of artificial intelligence. Interesting. It will touch every profession, every classroom, every hospital, every laboratory, every person, and every relationship you have. I know what many of you are feeling about that. I can hear you. There is a fear. We do not know the precise contours of what this transformation will look like. Choose a diversity of perspectives, including, let me add, and if you'd let me make this point, please.
That dude looks demonic to me.
If you don't care about science, that's okay, because AI is going to touch everything else as well. Whatever path you choose, AI will become part of how work is done.
Do you hear the smugness in his voice? Look at his face. If you don't like AI, it doesn't matter. It's going to touch everything that you do, like everything. And he's talking to a graduating class that have sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into graduating from this prestigious college, and their jobs will probably be irrelevant. Whatever field, even in the STEM field, like he's saying in science, like they're, this dude is going to profit mightily from AI and from data centers and all of the things. He's going to profit mightily, millions, probably billions of dollars. That's why he's smiling. That's why he's happy about this whole thing. This dude's going to leave a monetary legacy that could choke a mule. So he's happy. These kids understand what's going on. They understand. I'm going to let it play out. I think there's like 20 seconds left.
If you have a problem in the world you want to solve, you can now assemble a team of AI agents to help you with the parts that you could never accomplish.
But at what cost? That team of AI agents would have been boys and girls graduating from this prestigious, and they understand that. They understand it. He doesn't give a shit. This guy here, he could care. He's going to make millions. Just like Burgum, just like Armstrong, just like Fedoracek, just like all of these North Dakota elitists that are telling you AI data centers are great. They're going to benefit. You are an idiot. And they know you're an idiot. They don't expect you to gameplay this thing out. Think about this for a second. Let's not talk about the energy consumption, which is massive. Massive. If you remember correctly, back during the Biden administration, there was this huge push for electric cars. And so they were turning those idiotic electric cars out like it was nobody's business. And the end result of that was you had to ration when you could plug them in because the grid could not handle it. We were having rolling brownouts in places like California and New York and all these places where they pushed it hard. Those were electric cars. They are dwarfed by the energy consumption of data centers. Absolutely dwarfed. The straining power that the electric power you need to run one data center is enormous. And they're going to tell you that we have a fix for that. The fix is going to open up the door for eminent domain, because the fix is going to be plopping down these little mini nuclear plants, which still won't cover it. They're going to upgrade the grid. Why wasn't that done before? And you understand that this renewable energy garbage won't power a data center. You understand that. We got the whole Green New Deal, spend billions, trillions of dollars on all of that renewable energy garbage. A windmill is not going to power a data center. So our electric grid is going to have to be bolstered. And that's the foot in the door for eminent domain. Not to mention, these data centers will be the backbone of the internet. They will be the backbone that powers AI. And that is a public consumption. It will be a public consumption. Like he said, it will be everywhere. It will touch every single aspect of your life. Everything. Everything. Smart TVs, smart fridges, your car. You think they went hard on January 6th, folks? When we get AI, they're not going to have to spend years going after people. They'll shut your damn car down before you leave DC. So when you're out here championing these data centers, you better think long and hard. And I fully expect us to have data centers. I know that for a fact because evil people like this guy are not going to let it go. And our government, you think our government is going to pass on AI? Like my good friend says, what, do you want China to have this technology? Oh my God. I've heard so many conservative commentators say that same thing. Because of China, now I guess I don't care about my individual liberties, my civil liberties. I don't care about any of that stuff because China is now on the... No. There needs to be robust safeguards and penalties because, as he said, it will touch every aspect of your life and the government will have access to that. 100%. 100%. And then you think about all of the data breaches, and now we're going to have... It is insane to me that I even have to talk about this. Obvious things. Massive, centralized storage. You know what that is? That's a target. That's a massive target, is what that is. As a matter of fact, while we're talking about China, if we're in a war with China, where do you think they're going to target. Like our military, we're going to have drones. They're going to be AI powered. We're going to have planes and helicopters and all of our aircraft carriers and our missile systems and all of the things. All of the things will be powered by AI. Where do you think they're going to target? For data breaches, for hacks, for missile strikes. Where do you think they're going to target? Well, we're talking about China. And think about what, and again, we have not thought enough about this. Somebody told me, and I don't know if it's true or not, someone told me that there's already a data center being built up in Fargo. And I knew nothing about it. Nothing about it. But what I want you to think about is, like, they've been pushing hard for these new, what's it called? The real ID. Things with the chips in them. They've been pushing hard for that. They've also been pushing hard for central bank digital currencies. Hard for that. All of your cars in the future will be AI powered. And again, history gives us glimpses of things that could be. I want you to think about the trucker strike in Canada and how the government shut it down. And not only did they shut it down, GoFundMe, big story of how they shut that down. You couldn't give to the protesters. And then even if you were able to send them money, if it was in digital form and they had to go to an ATM, their bank cards don't work now. That was a thing that happened, guys. They couldn't go to an ATM and pull out their money. That's the Canadian government. You try to do Bitcoin transactions. That goes through, well, especially if you are not doing peer-to-peer transactions. If you're trying to get cash out of one of those Bitcoin machines, forget it. Government deems you dangerous. You're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere, and there'll be a drone sitting there watching you till the cops come. We need to gameplay these things out. We are handing the government ultimate control, like this idiot said, over every, like this phrase has been used before, but at no time has it been truer than right now with these data centers and this AI. At no point. And I'm an IT guy. I'm a network engineer. And I understand that there's going to be a lot of creature comforts, a ton. And they're going to sell you those creature comforts. They will. But there is massive responsibility behind that. And if you get behind this thing without the proper safeguards, and you'll notice that all of the talking heads that are talking about this, they're not talking about safeguards. They want this here yesterday. Fedoracek, Armstrong, Burgum, all those guys. They want to push through this stuff as quickly because they know once, if we're not thinking about this and we allow them to do this, and then the ramifications come later, and we don't have safeguards in place, we're just screwed. I heard someone say on the radio the other day, no eminent domain, absolutely eminent domain. Abso-friggin-lutely. Like, again, you're not thinking about this. You're looking at the shiny thing. You're looking at Star Trek. And I'm a Trekkie. I'm also a techie. So that whole life, to me, I love it. But with stringent safeguards that we need to be discussing right now. And think about this. Once we get AI and the internet of everything, and we have this cashless system, which is what they really want. That means zero cash. That means no side gigs to cover your no hard currency, no birthday envelopes. I heard somebody say this the other day. No birthday envelopes for grandma. You're working you're a kid. You're working a side gig for the summer. That's digital currency. China hits our data centers. What do you have to trade? What hard currency do you have? It's all up in the cloud. It is zero use to you. None. No piggy banks that you can break open, tide you over. No rainy day cash stash. None of that. No freedom. What we're looking at is a control grid with these AI data centers. Massive, power-hungry systems that have the ability to track everything. Every transaction recorded. Every move more traceable. Banks and government, one click away from freezing you out of your life. Think about it. Here's something to think about. Like Fargo, last week, Carissa Geske, school board candidate, she's being punished for saying Islam and Christianity don't coexist. Now, if they brand her a bigot, and she had to back out of some things because of her making that obviously true statement. They branded it hate speech. They kicked her out of whatever event, and my apologies. I should have had that pulled up. But think about that. They want you fully tracked, fully controlled, fully silent, and for something like what Carissa said that was 100% true, they can deem it hate speech, and maybe you can't access your ATM today. Think about all the stores, the Apple stores, and all of those Whole Food stores where you can walk in. They're fully digital. You walk in there, you grab your cart, and as you're putting things in your cart, it's deducting it from your account because you have that little card in your pocket, or on your you have that digital token on your watch or your phone. Now, and you don't go to the cash register, you don't talk to anybody, you just put it in your cart, you bag it up, you walk out. That's a thing right now that you can do. Right now, you can do that. Now think about the government with the ability to halt that. And as you go to Fargo, you can see this. It's a microcosm. You go to the Fargo Walmart, and you'll see that they have all these kiosks in there now. They pulled out all of the, well, not all of them, but the majority of them. And Minnesota, this is an even better example. But all of the manned kiosks where you go to the register and a guy's there and he's ringing you up and even Hornbacher, same way. They have all of these kiosks there now. Think about if the government says that you are a danger to society, like, evil, January 6th person. And then they put a freeze on that. And then you go in there and you try to buy food. And you can't. And they're not taking cash anymore, even if you had it. What is your recourse then? We need to think long and hard. And there needs to be robust pushback. There cannot be this, if China gets it, that can't be our response. That cannot be our response. And we cannot let silver spoon elitists tell us that it's good for us. Like, I respect the hell out of these kids because they understand what's coming. And they're not allowing this silver spooned elitists to stand there and lie to them. They understand the mission. They understand that their diplomas that they just spent all that money on and all that time on is garbage. Now, the way to mitigate this is, and I personally know families with large families, and their boys are learning trades like blacksmithing, which Eli will be learning, forging, making knives and implements, old school style. Things like that. Trades like that, I don't think those trades are going to go anywhere. But everything else, every aspect of your life will be touched by AI. You got that in one corner. You got the energy and water consumption of these data centers. You got that in one corner. You got the massive amounts of data in a centralized location. You got that in one corner. There should be robust debates and actual safeguards put on this thing. Like I said, when Clay mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, like, we think about the Intercontinental Railroad and how they accomplished that. No mean feat, no small feat, but there was a lot of shenanigans that went on there. A lot. A lot of land was stolen via eminent domain. A lot of people got rich. A lot of government officials got rich. If you dig into the history of our railroad and the way that thing was done, oh my God. And you got to dig into the history. You can't get the sanitized version they teach you in school. It was great. Golden Spike, blah, blah, blah. San Francisco to New York. That's all well and good. But go deeper. And this thing is going to dwarf that thing. And I think, no, so we're going to be a little longer than 2.5. Because my worldview is a Christian worldview, and I think I'm probably going to do a Christ OS on AI. Because, believe it or not, AI is in the Bible. It's in Revelation. Daniel got a revelation out of it. Like, it's literally in the Bible. Like, the vision is the robot. Well, he didn't say robot, he said statue. And he talks about what the statue does. And the statue becomes animated. And the statue is moving. Like, the information is moving at the speed of light. People are moving at the speed of thought. And they're all given a number. They're all given a number. I am going to do a Christ OS. Absolutely. You guys, keep your ear to the ground on that. I just had a thought. We're doing that thing. I also want you to think about this before I go. Clay, I'm sorry. Give me 2 more minutes on this thing. The hubris of us, of humans. Like, we've always harbored this dangerous fantasy to become God or godlike. And we forget. Like, do you guys remember the Tower of Babel? One people, one language, one towering ambition. They said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its tops in the heavens. And let us make a name for ourselves. Remember that? They weren't just stacking bricks. They were trying to storm heaven itself to centralize human power and escape the limits that had been placed upon them. And what happened? Their language was confused. Their unity was shattered. The tower was left unfinished. A monument to pride, maybe? And then today, the parallels to me are just, today we're building a new power, a Babel, in my humble opinion. Only this one is made of silicon and steel and trillions of dollars and electricity and water consumption and all of that thing. We call them data centers, vast cathedrals, a computation, swallowing the internet, millions of books, every conversation, every photo, every human thought that they harvest and scrape. And their goal, not merely to connect the world, but to create something omniscient and omnipresent, an intelligence that knows everything, accessible from every pocket, answering every question, shaping every decision. And we tell ourselves this is progress. And we listen to the language of its high priest. They speak intelligence, becoming a utility like electricity. They say, children, I wish I had this clip. I should have had it. But it was Sam Altman. And he said, children born today will never be smarter than their machines. He said that. They destroy physical books, which is why I collect books. Like, I could turn that camera over there. I have literally thousands of books. I have more books in storage than I have in my house, physical copies. Because they have destroyed millions of books just to feed the algorithm. And then they claim they created something new, something alive, something godlike. I heard, and I am a Joe Rogan fan. I am a fan. I stream his podcast. I am a subscriber. But I heard him say something that was so idiotic. He says that AI can somehow gain consciousness. How do you do that without a soul? How do you do that without a soul? They want something godlike. They want their systems to see all, know all, and soon decide all. This is the same ancient fallacy. This is man reaching for divine status through his own works. We trade humility for hubris, limits for limitless ambition. We forget that true knowledge begins with a fear of the Lord, not the worship of our own creations. We've been down this road. We ignore what history keeps teaching us. Whenever we try to become gods, we don't ascend. We implode. We fall. We divide. We collapse under the weight of our own presumptions. The data centers, that drum beat gets louder every day. The servers grow hotter. The promises grow bolder. But the warning from Babel still echoes. Nothing man builds in defiance of his created nature will stand forever. It will not stand. We were never meant to be the source of all knowledge. We cannot be. We're on this tiny little planet in a massive, unending void of other heavenly bodies. We do not have the knowledge. We don't even know what a woman is. I mean, we don't even know what a woman is. Yet we think that we're meant to be stewards, guys, not sovereigns. We need to learn the lesson before the new tower reaches its inevitable end. Because when pride goes before destruction, the fall is never gentle. And right now, we're watching that tower rise. Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic, Guns of the 701. Sorry, Clay. We will see you guys again next week. God bless.